James interviewing Coach White, head coach of women's bowling. Coach, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. I bet after that last weekend performance, you're feeling fantastic.
Well, I'm still a little bit on cloud nine as far as how I feel about the performance. They did really well. Yes.
Great. So talk to us a little bit about that. It was the SWAC East Roundup for the weekend. So talk to us about how that went. How did you guys place and what happened?
Well, we knew going in we were in second place from the results from the first roundup. And so this was a continuation of the first roundup to finish up for regular season, for the regular season results. So we knew we were in for a real battle and a real struggle to try to win first place because we were already 2 games behind in the loss column to Alabama State. Number one. Number two, we had lost 2 matches to Alabama State in the first roundup. So we had a lot of work to do.
You had ground to cover.
We had a lot of ground to cover. And we covered that ground, as it turned out. I can't say enough about how well they bowled from beginning to end. We started out the first day with 3 wins and 1 loss. We kind of had a little bit of a letdown at the end of that day. Our first match, of course, was against Alabama State to start the weekend. So we knew this was a huge match. As it turned out, it was really a battle because both teams bowled really well. We did better. We actually bowled the highest that we had ever bowled before in the program as far as in one match. They also bowl well. We just bowl better. And so we put a lot of into that match, and I think we had a little bit of a letdown when we got to Southern, and we ended up losing that match. But from that point on, they continued to bowl well throughout the weekend. We had another big match coming up against Alabama State on the last day. But we also had several other big matches going against Jackson State and again bowling against Southern. So they were very consistent all weekend and very, very competitive, knowing what they were up against. And for them to perform and compete the way they did this weekend, to finally come out winning the regular season championship. Again, to have a young team to compete and have the mental focus to compete at that level, I think I can't be as proud as I am right now.
Well, that's an excellent feeling for you as a coach, and I'm sure it's a great feeling for the players as well, especially because you have so many freshmen. Talk to us a little bit about what it means for them as freshmen to do so well.
Well, they're excited also. We actually talked about it in our team meeting this morning before we began practice. And some of the things that they brought up were some of those things that I just mentioned as far as how they stay competitive, how they stay consistent. But one of the main things that came up was how well they did to finish out matches, because that's where we had been struggling in the past, is when we get to the end of the matches, we kind of start fizzling it out and maybe letting our nerves get to us. But that didn't happen this weekend, and they did really well with that.
Wonderful. Well, now that you are you've won your regular season championship, what comes next for you guys?
Well, now we have a break. We have a good 3 to 4 weeks break, which is very good for us because we've been on the go for like 3 weekends in a row. So this gives us a time to kind of take a step back and work on some skill things that we need to continue to get better at. Gives us a time to kind of break our games down and really work on getting better and getting ourselves refocused on what we need to do in practice, okay, outside of preparing for a tournament. So we are glad to have this time. We have a big event coming up in March, which is another major tournament, a national tournament, Vanderbilt's tournament in Tennessee. that we want to be prepared for and we want to do well in that event. But also we have after that, of course, the SWAC Conference Championship. That is still our major goal. We want to win the conference championship, and hopefully if we can do that, then we'll have a chance to get into nationals. So we still have goals that we want to meet.
Right. So talk to us a little bit about what it means to be able to, if you're able to be successful going into the Vanderbilt tournament, what it means for your momentum going into SWAC championship at the end of the season.
Well, it would be huge, actually, because what we want to do now that we performed at the level that we did this past weekend, we want to make sure it's consistent, that we don't have a letdown, that we continue to bowl at a high level. It's going to be different. There's going to be a lot more teams, a lot of the top national teams, and teams that we haven't competed against before. So that the atmosphere is going to be different. It'll probably be anywhere from 25 to 30 teams at this event. So it's going to be huge. So that's another real challenge for a young team to be able to still compete in that arena, in that kind of atmosphere. And if we can do that, then we'll know we'll be ready to deal with what we need to deal with going into the SWAC Conference Championship.
Now, for those of us that don't know, tell us a little bit about the difference between the number of teams that you're competing against at the Vanderbilt tournament, the SWAC championship, and the national championship.
Well, the difference is outside of our conference, when we compete all year, we have 9 to 10 tournaments a year, and that includes the 2 roundups. Outside of the roundups, anytime that we compete in other tournaments, you have anywhere a number of teams from number 1 in the country to number 15 or number 20 in the country. So the level of competition actually goes up. So what we want to do is be able to raise up our level of competition outside of conference. That not only tells us that we're getting better, it tells us where we are as a team, that we want to get to a point where we can compete on a national level consistently. We want to become one of the top teams in the country. So if we can go to Vanderbilt and perform at the level that we did in the roundup, then we'll know we're in the right direction, that we're doing the right things, and that if we can compete at that level, it also will let us know if we win the SWAC championship that we're ready to play in nationals and not be intimidated about the type of competition that we'll meet at that level.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time, Coach. It's always great to talk with you.
Thank you again for having me.